Changing rules for schools. Why a brand new school board member from Western Wisconsin is publicly pushing back against radical policy changes. Next. Danny Erickson is my guest, a school board member in Somerset, Wisconsin, just over the Minnesota border. Danny, good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Good to see you too. Thanks, Liz.
Just to back up here a bit, it was in April that the Department of Education approved new Title IX rules. They are set to take effect on August 1st. I think many parents are not paying that close of attention to what's going on this summer, but these new rules will affect school districts in Minnesota, Wisconsin, all across the nation. Tell us, though, specifically, Danny, what these changes mean for your district, where you are in Somerset.
These changes will impact our students with free speech. And because of these new rules and gender identity, if a child is not able to relay what they believe to be a man and a woman, they could get in big trouble and have a sexual harassment claim put against them. One of the other big things that's happened with this federal ruling is due process rights have been stripped for students. We need due process for the accused and the victim, not just the victim, and that's been stripped from this new ruling that was currently under Title IX. So we need that repealed back, and it's important for our students to have due process.
So these new rules then trickle down to these policy changes at Somerset schools, and this is where you're presented as a school board with those changes for the first time very, very recently. But this policy change is 26 pages long. The way I understand it is you're saying it can be applied to everything from bathroom usage to women's sports participation.
Yes, it's the policymaker and our district attorney is telling us it does not relate or pertain to sports, but that is just not the case. Not when you have such a broad definition of identity by the federal government. It's just built in. It's going to impact sports.
So you've been sounding the alarm ever since. Ultimately, it is up to the school board to approve policy changes. What are you hearing? How are parents reacting there?
We have many people in the community, many parents who are, well, the ones that are paying attention, the ones that we're trying to raise the alarm with. They're shocked. They can't believe this is coming to a small town in Wisconsin. They never thought this would happen. Most people are still just out on the lake and not realizing that this is all coming down in 2 to 3 weeks, this change, unless something stops it. There's several things that could do that, and it's in such wild flux right now that it's just going day to day. It's crazy.
I wanted to read directly from the policy update here. It says, whereas the 2020 Title IX regulations focused on sexual harassment, the 2024 final rule covers all forms of sex discrimination, as you were saying, Danny, not just sex-based harassment, claims of unequal athletic opportunities, admissions discrimination, discrimination in courses or academic programs, excluding students from certain classes or programs based on their sex, pregnancy discrimination, unequal treatment based on parental, family, or marital status, discrimination in employment, including hiring, promotion, and compensation, and retaliation. Just talk about that. What's going through your mind when you first hear about these changes and then see them for yourself?
It's such a broad expanse, and I'm really worried about how we're gonna spend our taxpayers' money educating our children if it seems like it seems like almost any little thing could be made into a complaint. And the complaint structure with due process being changed now can be oral and not written. It can be no longer just objective, but subjective now is included. So I feel like this could be a huge burden for taxpayers just on that alone. And it's a big concern.
But along with this sweeping policy, these changes, it also seems to suggest that this could be retroactive. So how does this end when it doesn't seem like there is an end in sight?
Well, we got some clarification, received some clarification on that. It does appear that at this time, from what I understand, that complaints that are made about things that happened in the past will not fall under this, is what I'm understanding, but I'm still working on figuring that out. So that was a prior concern as well. Still working on that.
The new rules take effect August 1st. As we've said, plenty of states plan to ignore the rules. At least 26 so far have filed lawsuits against the Department of Education. But there is a catch. If you don't follow the new rules, your district could lose federal funding. What do you think is going to happen where you live there?
Well, my goal is to have our school board be a role model for the rest of Wisconsin and just to stand up and say, we can wait. Because of all the litigation, because this is most likely, it's going to go to the Supreme Court. And there's good reasons for that. And it's for the legal reasons alone, we can afford to wait.
Danny, I know you just recently became a school board member. Why did you decide to get involved?
I love my community. I have 4 kids in the school district, in elementary, middle, and high school. And just watching things and becoming involved over the last year or two, I've realized how important it is to be active, and especially at the levels of policy making. Those policies, that's where it's all at, and that's what I want to be involved in.
A recent school board meeting, you certainly heard from some impassioned parents and people who live in that area.
And I'm ashamed to be in front of this board to talk about this. That this is an issue. It's disgusting. The biggest threat to us here is our Constitution. There's an evil force out there that is attacking our Constitution, trying to break it down. Everybody here has a First Amendment right to do and be what you want to be, to religiously preach and receive your God in the way you believe, to be who you want to be. That's your right. But don't push it on me. My right is to do what I want to do.
Do you ultimately think that will be enough to sway the school board here in holding off?
That's a good question. We have 2 or 3, well, a couple more meetings. Well, one with no public comment, but that certainly doesn't mean people won't show up. I'm certainly they will. There's still so much happening that I think that will come into play. I think a lot is going to happen in the legal landscape in the next 1 to 2 weeks. And so it's going to be a crazy ride.
We'll continue to follow it here. Thank you so much for your courage. A brave school board member in Somerset, Wisconsin, Danny Erickson. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Liz.
That'll do it for this episode of Liz Collin Reports. We'll see you next time.